You're listening to M.T.V.B. Podcast. Movies, TV, video and board games. This show may contain swearing.
Hello, welcome to a brand new episode of the M.T.V.B. podcast, the podcast that talks about my four favourite subjects as movies,
TV shows,
video games,
and board games. I'm your host, Anthony, as well as most people know me as the Ant-Man, and welcome. This week's episode, we're finally doing a board game episode. Seeing as this episode's coming out on Christmas week, we are doing a roundup of those top 5 board games of 2023. And I'm joined around the table by the guys that love to talk about board games. Please introduce yourselves around the table, please.
Hi, my name is Jason of the Maple Minded podcast.
Hello, my name is Wayne. You know me as the Games Master.
Nice.
And I'm from Board Stupid.
That's the first time you've introduced yourself as the Games Master. I'm always doing it for you.
I know.
You've
Now
finally
I'm
taken
doing it myself, and I'm holding on to it. It's the best title I've ever been known
The man,
by.
the myth, the legend.
That's it. Yeah, I love that. I'll take that too. Yeah, I'm Wayne from Board Stupid.
Nice, guys. Thank you for coming on for this episode. Your top 5 board games of 2023. How was the list for you?
Hard.
Ooh.
It was actually quite hard. I thought it was going to be a really easy one for me, because when you first told us about it, I was like, yep, got my 5. I knew it straight away. And then we were talking just before we went live, before while we were waiting for Wayne to turn up. And I was just like, yep, my list has probably changed about 20 times this week.
Has it really?
It has.
Why was that?
Only little bits here and there, like moving.
Just the
here and
order.
there. The order of it changed. There were some games that came in and came out. I decided that I couldn't deal with the pressure of trying to make the list, so I hit up Pub Meeple, did that 4 or 5 times, and that was different every single time as well. So yeah, I've settled on a list, but I think it might change while we're talking.
That's fine.
That is very interesting that yours changed quite a lot. Mine didn't really change, I'll be honest with you, because I did my short list and I thought, mate, how many games have I played from 2023's releases? It's like 15 games. It's like quite a lot. I was like, more than I thought I played.
I thought it'd be more than that, to be honest.
No, well, ones that I liked. So it
was about 50.
Yeah, no. But yeah, and I thought that was quite a lot. So, and then to get that down to 5, I thought that was pretty easy. The difficulty was the order.
Yeah.
Because that has somewhat changed over the year. So, one of the games which will be on the list hasn't moved at all. That was like right up there. And then towards the end of the year...
So it's been there for a while, is it?
Yeah. Since basically... Spoilers, since UK Games Expo. And then when we got to Spiel, obviously that's quite late in the year, those couple of games there went straight in.
Yeah.
Straight in, and there were some great releases this year.
So I think that's always the hardest thing about doing this type of list at this time of year.
Yeah.
Is because most of the games that come out, or the big games that come out that are going to be the hard hitters, don't come out until October in Germany.
Yes.
And then we're lucky if we get them by the end of the year.
By the same time of the year.
That is a good point, because some of these games... Actually, no, I don't think any on my list, but there's certainly 1 or 2 that you could have gotten at Spiel, which actually don't have an official release until 2024. So they, I suppose, wouldn't be valid for this list.
Right, okay.
I think I've got at least one on there that's either only just hitting the shelves in the UK or hasn't quite made it to the shelves, I've got them.
I've got a December release on here, so I think 2 December releases actually. No, 2. So they came in
2023, so it counts, mate. So.
Absolutely, and it's been a good year. Again, another good year, Jason.
Oh, it has.
Another good year for board gamers everywhere. So I think we're all lucky. It's been cracking games.
I've definitely played a whole lot more than last year. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
There's a hell of a lot of games that have come out this year, which has been a cracking year for games. But also, I don't know if you'd noticed it, there's been a cracking year for, I'd say, underdog designers and underdog publishers. There's been a lot of games that have been heavy hitters from either publishers or designers that either no one's heard of, or it's their first game or whatever, and boom, you're there.
Yeah. It's been a real.
I think at least one of mine is one of those.
Definitely,
Nice.
me too. What about you, Anne? What have you thought about the games from this year?
From this year, very mixed bag personally, because some of the games I quite enjoyed this year would be nothing to my interest whatsoever.
Really?
It's not till I've actually seen them played or demoed or actually given a go to actually think, oh, actually, this isn't too bad, to be honest. So I've discovered a lot more this year than I would have done normally.
Nice. Was the list easy to make for you?
Yes, I've been very much like Jason though, because I've tried to do mine a certain way.
Right.
Which I'll
explain. We'll get into later.
We'll get into it in a sec, because that's going to be my next question, actually. But no, a very, very interesting year for me, most definitely.
Nice.
But going into the list of how did you do yours, I'll go into my quick because I'm here. I've tried to do mine as one that I don't own, one that I have used as an expansion, and then the rest are actual ones that came out this year. So,
Okay.
how have you guys done it?
So I think for me, as whenever I do these lists, is I could. There's lots of things I could go on, criteria of mechanisms and all that kind of jazz, but really, I always revert back to the same thing of board games are there for me to have fun. So if a game has given me more fun than anything else, that's going to play some heavy points towards it. Obviously, I do like certain things like mechanisms and taking that into consideration. But ultimately is what did I have the most fun playing with? What ones do I constantly want to play?
Yeah.
What ones am I thinking about after I've been playing the game? How I can play better? How I can, potentially lose because, I'm constantly being accused that I win all the time. I'd like to point out that whenever I play games with you guys, it very rarely happens.
Yep.
So clearly I don't win all the time.
That says more about the company you keep, mate.
Well, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But I think for me as well, I've been thinking about this a lot, just as the nature of me and Matt on the channel. I've been thinking about it a lot for the content post spiel, so we've been pretty heavily thinking about everything from mechanisms to how it makes you feel, etc. But we always boil it down to how much fun did we have.
Yes,
that's basically the be all and end all of it. I mean, which game did we have the most fun with? And so, of the games that didn't make the cut, which might be honourable mentions, great games. Absolutely great games, but your mileage may vary. Everyone's different. These are the ones that I have the most fun with, and I will take with me probably into 2024 and play probably a lot more.
Nice.
So,
Nice. My next question is to you guys. Has anyone introduced you a game this year that came out this year that you've taken quite a shine to? It doesn't have to be in your top 5, but was there one that you've actually, this is actually not too bad?
Go ahead, mate.
I'm just going to say yes.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Mostly as a result of Spiel, because as you know, Ant, when you're in Spiel, you will just sit down and play anything, right? There's a ton of stuff. You're like, let's go and check that out.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of games there. There's a couple on my list from that experience where literally didn't know anything about it, like knew nothing. Sat down, someone taught me it, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
In one instance, went and bought it. In another instance, Matteo, he went and bought one, and we played those games quite a lot. So they were definitely good hitters. And someone showed us, fell in love with it, went and bought it.
Yeah, I think that's exactly how my number one happened to me.
Something showed you. Yeah.
Something introduced me to something at Expo, taught me how to play it, and I think it's like one of the best this year, hence why it's my number one. But I wouldn't have known about it if I hadn't gone to Expo, knew nothing about it, or where I took the chance of even just giving it a go, because, again, not the style of it would not be what I would be into. So giving it a try has made it my number one.
Mate, I'm super curious about your list. I'm so curious.
Yeah,
so mine's very, I think you can guess a few of it, but I'd be very interested if you don't figure out what the number one is. But anyway, Jason, you said yes, and there was nothing else, was there?
Yeah,
so it must be in your list.
It is in. Well, there's actually more than one in my list that would fall under that category. But I've played so many new games this year, which is actually very unlike me. For those that don't know, in the UK we do struggle to get these new games in the year that they come out, usually, because it usually falls over into the next year. But this year I've actually managed to get a lot of the new games to the table, Really been enjoying it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it wasn't for both of you two, I'd be off. And again, we're not just like, for example, we're not just played 2023. We played games that have been backlogged for donkey's years and stuff and been introduced to. And again, that's how I've got to play a lot more games this year. Like Arkham Horror, the card game, was the first time I got to play it this year, and friggin' loved it. So
great game.
Again, it's not a 2023 game, but just to add that to the thing, I say I played it, which is going to go to my next question. Have you guys had a fair amount of backlog at all that you've never played this year, or not this year, but
just generally?
Just in generally.
What's my shelf of shame?
Or shelf of opportunity.
Shelf of opportunity. Shelf of gaming opportunity.
Less of this negativity. So wait,
yeah,
that's my gimmick.
Never kink shame. So, do you know what? I've been quite lucky. I don't think there's anything left on in my Kallaxes, plural, that hasn't been played. I think if I'm right, that's everything at this point. So I think I've played everything. Matteo, on the other hand, that could not be the case. I think he's got a couple of big ass Kickstarters that is just like taking up space in the house right now. So I think he's quite keen to play a couple of those, like Oathsworn.
Oh, wow.
So spoilers, that won't...
Hot damn.
Yeah, that won't be on my list because we haven't played it yet. We are planning to over Christmas, but it won't get there in time.
That's a big bad boy, isn't it? Yeah. I've heard good things about it, though.
Yeah, me too. Heard great stuff. And a couple of other bits and bobs. But no, for me, I've been quite lucky. I've been playing a lot. Super happy. It's been, I'm very, very fortunate. So.
Good. Jason?
Yeah, this year's been a lot better for me with regards to the gaming front, because I've been able to maintain a regular game group at my house, rotating people in and out. That's been really good. Playing different games, trying to get as many games off of my shelf of shame, shelf of opportunity. I've been down to yours a couple of times, managed to play a few games that I've not played before there.
And you didn't hate them.
I didn't hate them.
That's good.
I didn't hate them. I've played quite a few of your games, Ant.
And you didn't hate them.
And I didn't hate them.
Good. Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Oh, shit.
No, I didn't. I've not disliked any game I've played this year, which has been great fun. But I definitely think this year has been far better for me because I've been far more relaxed.
Yeah.
I've released some of my stresses of running multiple game clubs this year, which has been brilliant. I now only have the one to worry about, which I've actually also been gaming at, which I've never really done in previous years. So that's given me even more time to game. I set myself a challenge to play the equivalent of one game every day this year. I haven't achieved it, annoyingly, but I'm only about 60 off of the 300 and...
I was going to bring that up because you brought it up on the season 6 of this and saying you were going to do this.
Yeah, obviously in preparation for our year-end podcast that we're doing, I was checking it out. I was like, I've not done it, and there's no way I'm going to be able to do it.
Still 300 odd games though.
I've done over 300 games this year, so
that's pretty good.
I think that's pretty good for me.
300 plays or 300 different games?
So it'd be 300 plays.
That's still amazing.
So I think game-wise...
It's almost, one a day.
It's about 100 and something.
That's pretty great, mate. I think pretty great. I started that, then forgot for about 3 months, and I thought,
start again next year.
Yeah, I'll start exactly.
Start again in January.
January, definitely going to start again. Yeah. Hopefully I won't forget by April, and it'll be okay. So I'll carry it through. But yeah, nothing on the shelf of shame for me, and nothing for you either.
There's plenty of things on my shelf of shame.
Yeah, so anyway.
Which is going to go to my next question. And it doesn't have to be a game, but it might be something that you didn't get to play well. But was there any regrets of 2023 at all? For example, for me, I never got to play the Witcher Wild Hunt board game. That was something I was really looking forward to Expo, and they didn't have it for sale in the end, and I've not actually got a chance to get it to a table or know anyone that actually owns it to play it. So that's one of my regrets for this year. What about you guys?
Yeah, I think one or two. I never got to play, again, spoilers, not on my list, Apiary. Which is the big Stonemaier release, and I know a lot of people liked it, but the lines were humongous. There was like 1 or 2 tables. It's not enough, basically, for the demand for that game.
Is that the recent
it's
one?
The bee, yeah, with the sentient bees in space.
Right, okay.
It's really weird.
Space bees.
Yeah, a weird theme, but also nice, unique theme. That's cool, and like apparently very, very good. But then I don't want to sit there and plump down 80, 90 euros on something I don't know. If I'm at Spiel, I always want to sit down. I always want to sit down and play it. And
try before you buy.
That was a really weird one, wasn't it? Because they only announced it like 2 weeks before Spiel. Yeah. And it was like, this is very unlike them. Usually there's a bit of a build-up and you know a bit more about the game.
Absolutely that. And Yeah, but they just came in late with it. So kind of regret not playing that and maybe picking that up.
Big year for Snowmire, though, especially with Expeditions coming out and whatnot.
As well,
so,
that's possibly another one, actually, is I got a little cheeky playtest of it, but not enough to really...
Yeah, we did that at Expo, wasn't it?
Right, it wasn't enough.
I've not played it since, so I would like to get a copy or try and give it a play or something. But again,
it didn't give me enough to want to buy it.
Exactly,
so,
Yeah, I was kind of gutted, actually, because I missed out on a copy of Expeditions for £35 about 2 weeks ago.
It's dirt cheap.
damn.
It was still sealed and everything, so I was like... And I was about... It was at a gaming event at the for sale table. I was about 30 seconds
Christ, you could have
behind
just bought it and
the person that
resold
got
it, mate.
Yeah, even if I didn't like it, I probably would have got my money back plus more. But that was a bit of a regret. But when it comes to actual games, I too haven't played the Space Bees.
Yeah.
I'd like to. I also didn't get around to playing the other hotness, which was Nucleum.
Yeah, I didn't play Nucleum, but I don't think
That
I was
looks like
interested.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but something about that just didn't really vibe with me.
Yeah, it's one of those. I really want to play it to see what the hype is about, but I think it's going to fail to achieve what I think it should because of said hype.
Is that the Nuclear Brass?
Yeah,
type game?
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah. There was one more. You triggered a memory now. Core memory unlocked. No, there was Planta Nubo, which was one. It was a huge new release by Uwe Rosenberg, and it was one I kind of really wanted to play. But the more I learned about it, the more I was like, man, I don't know if I've got the time. It's like a 4-hour super heavy Euro game, tile laying, but it's an Uwe Rosenberg advanced game. And I was like, I don't know if I've got the time for that, or the space for it, or the desire to want to have that in my collection. I don't think I'll get it out enough. So, couple of regrets for not at least playing these games.
I think to add just one more, having you just saying that reminded me of a game that I do actually own, but is going to be sold because I just don't have the time to learn it, which was Darwin's Journey. Another great 2023 game.
You had that as well, didn't you? Yeah.
But I haven't got the time to sit and learn it. It's not something I think my core game group are really going to gel with all that much, which obviously adds to the I can't really be bothered to spend the time learning this. So yeah, Darwin's Journey, that's probably another one that I'm regretting not playing.
Yeah.
But if I find someone who knows how to play it and wants to teach me,
then you'll actually give it a go.
I want to give it a go.
Oh, and I'm sorry, I've got a couple more.
Please,
I've
please,
just
go
found
for
my
it.
old list. I'm like, wait, why didn't I mention these? The White Castle by DeVere on my list.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't pick that up. Probably should have. I still will, I think.
But you've played it?
No, I didn't get to play it.
Oh, right.
Again, there's one table, and that's the biggest game that DeVere are releasing.
Yeah.
Small box, but freaking no area to play it on. So I was like, well, but it's like 25 quid. So I think I've asked for it for Christmas, so we'll see. But that'll possibly be one.
Absolutely. You've got to appease the American listeners there and just remind them that it's not about burgers.
Exactly. Not about burgers. The White Castle. And my biggest regret, I can't believe I didn't mention it, was Sea Dragons by Fractal Yugos Games.
Okay.
That was a super limited release. They only had a couple hundred copies in English, and there's no
That was
plans.
the big one you were looking for at Spiel as well, wasn't
There was
it?
no plans for an English printing, like another print.
Oh, what?
Or for another publisher. So once they went, that is it.
So they're gold dust now, really, aren't they?
Yeah, and I was like, fudge. Gutted.
It's all right, you can swear on this one.
Flip. Couldn't do it, mate. No, absolutely gutted. So that's the biggest regret is, Sea Dragons by Fractal Yugos.
Oh, mate.
Some publisher better pick that fucking game up because I want a copy of it. So
now he fucking swears.
I'm angry now. Anyway, good.
I'm sure they will, mate. If it's going to be in demand, someone's going to do it.
It was like the first hour. I went. That was the first thing I went for. I want to go get Sea Dragons. All gone.
All gone. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so that could be my final thing. I know I've said that twice now, but that's just reminded me. Biggest regret of the year, hands down, was being a dickhead and not realising that my passport had expired when I was due to go to Germany to go.
Oh, yes. I remember you had to get a new one and everything, didn't you?
I did, and it didn't turn up in time for me to be able to go, so I didn't get to go this year. However, we are 100%
which will go to my next question, which is, what are you looking forward to for 2024?
Spill!
Oh, yeah, I think
games, expos, whatever.
Yes, mate. We're all, I think, all three of us, we're going to UK Games Expo.
We are,
yeah.
And we're all going to Spill.
We're all going to Spill.
We are.
This is going to be a sexy, sexy time.
Road trip, baby.
Road trip, baby. No, I'm absolutely looking forward to both of those events because they are always amazing. In terms of games that coming out in 2024. But possibly. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I normally do my research like about 6 weeks out of these events when I start knowing about the big releases. So I couldn't tell you right now. I know Joyride, I think, might be out next year, and that was one of my favourites from
Rebellion, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Great fun. I think that's out next year. May pick up a retail copy. Yeah.
I think I'm looking forward to actually checking out. I don't know if it's going to be released next year or whether it's a crowdfunding next year. But Galactic Cruise.
Yes.
Really looking forward to that one. I like the idea of the theme of that one.
Me too.
Because I believe it's like you're making a space hotel or
it's kind of like the Elon Musk's and the Jeff Bezos is sending rich people into space. You're like a company that does that. You're like sending them into space and like make space tourism as a way.
Nice.
When I first heard about it, all I had going through my mind was Wall-E. And the big...
they're all sitting in the seats and stuff. And
yeah, that's all I had going through my mind. But yeah, I really like the idea of that game. So really looking forward to that. I think, obviously, the new Nemesis being released next year.
I think that's the year after.
Is it the year after?
I think it's August 25,
So it's a long one. That's a shame.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping to at least get a play of that next year then.
Fingers crossed. I mean, hopefully Spiel would have it because it'll be less than a year.
Yeah,
so hopefully they should have something
I
out.
believe they were at Spiel this year somewhere playing
They were there last year.
Yeah, I'd like to at least give that a go before it turns up, which would be good. But other than that, I've not really looked into too much as to what's coming next year at this point.
Yeah, that's fair. The one big game that I am excited about, which is a route on plan Kickstarter, which is Arcs, which is the next big one from Ledder Games that did Route and all of that. So Arcs, I'm incredibly excited about.
Oh, it's not a Route expansion. This is completely something different.
New game,
right.
which is a big space opera, and I'm very excited about that. So that'll be fantastic.
Nice.
So, yeah, that one.
So I should say any of my Kickstarters turning up, but off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you what they were.
Oh, at this rate, mate,
that many.
To be fair, at this rate, it will be Robinson Crusoe in 2024, but I can't even guarantee that will come.
How long's that been now, Wayne?
So I backed that in September 2021.
Wow.
Did they deliver some?
Nope.
They haven't delivered any?
Fucking none.
Oh, one of those.
Apparently on the way, mate, but who knows?
Oh, dear.
Let's hope it's not a scam.
It's, whatever. Fucking, I might just, whatever.
On that note,
move on. I'm getting angry.
Anything else to add? If not, we will go straight to the top five,
mate,
guys.
Let's get it.
Should we do it? Let's do it.
Let's get it.
It's time for a top five.
So, Jason, you've obviously not been on season 7. What we do now is we roll the die 20 to see who goes first.
Oh,
okay, so I will go first. It's a 6.
It's a 6. Okay, let me roll this dice
6
right
to
here.
Ant. And it's a 4 to Wayne.
It won't be me.
You've got to beat a 6, Jason, and then we go clockwise if you win, sir. Let's do that again because it's the copyright symbol. No pressure. It's 11. Jason goes first.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You should get the choice.
Yeah, baby.
And then we will go round clockwise. Order. Are you happy with that, yeah?
I'm
Or do you want to
happy
go
with that.
last, Games Master?
I'm good, mate. I'll go in the middle. You got it.
You sure?
I'll get it.
No, I don't want to go middle. I don't want to go in.
Do you want me to go in the middle?
Yeah, you go. No, I'll go middle.
You want to go middle? I'll go
go
last.
middle, yeah.
Okay, I'll go.
Anyway.
All right.
Anyway, if any gamers out there listening, we don't mention your game from 2023, bollocks to you. You should have been on this episode. Number 5.
Number 5.
Jason, what is the number 5 of 2023?
Okay, so my number 5 is one that we have been playing a fair bit this year, and is actually going to call back to one of your questions earlier. It's one of your games. It is Call Me or Not's Masters of the Universe.
The power, baby!
For Eternia.
Nice.
I have been loving that game. I've been loving that game. We've recently recorded an episode about it.
I'm going to jump in because this is my number 5. I honestly didn't think he was going to have it, so I'll put it up for last minute.
I'm not going to lie. This is one of the ones that's been coming on and off of the list, switching with another game that I'll talk about later in the honourable mentions. But yeah, Clash for Eternia. I really love Masters of the Universe. So I'll kick that off. So this game gives me a massive kick to my nostalgia because, again, it's very much based on the older style rather than the new style that we're seeing now. The characters they all feel different. There's just great fun. And I love the one versus all aspect.
The controller side.
Exactly, yeah. And I personally really enjoy being the controller. But having played quite a few games of it now on both sides of it, I just enjoy it all round.
Yeah.
I love its unique thing of doesn't matter what team you want to be, you can play as the controller as that team. Whereas normally in a 1 versus all, it's kind of like, no, you have to be this team.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, you've got that unique thing. I was like, no, I want to be He-Man and his crew. Or if you're doing a certain mission, okay, well, I can't be He-Man on this one, but I'll take Teela and Orko and Master at Arms.
Yes.
You know, I love the variety that comes in this game. I think it's very, very simple.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of strategic elements to it. And it's probably one of the worst games this year to actually make me sit and think way too long about what I'm doing and assessing way too much.
God forbid you actually think about a move, Jason.
Like die faces. What are my percentages, rolls on this? Because I want to smash James in the... But yeah, long story short, I just had great fun in all the plays we've had of it. And I can't lie, knowing that there is a new Game Found campaign coming with the UK release. This concerns me and concerns my wallet.
Nice, sir.
Yes.
So, yeah. Well, what have you got to say about it?
Well, if anyone listens to Reap on Monday, we talked about this last week. So if you want to know more about it, go back. But no, I picked this because of the mechanic for balance of power, the whole part of how you pick your player choice as well. You pick for different card sections on the board where your turn is going to be between yourself and the controllers was another aspect of it. Being a big He-Man fan as well, obviously massive nostalgia bait for me. I did happen to put this and Fields of Eternia on here because I did get to play it, but it's the one I do not own. Thank you, Stuart, for letting me play that, by the way, if you're listening. The artwork for the C1 version is very nostalgia to the TV series more than the Fields of Eternia. Fields of Eternia is like its own movie, but it does have a better board than the C1 version. Again, it's got very much like an aspect from one of my favourite games of all time, which is Cthulhu Death May Die, which is all on the dice roll. Yeah. Again, when we did that epic Assault on Castle Grayskull scenario, and it literally came down to just the die roll. It was like when we did that demo of season 3 at Spiel,
which is amazing.
And you done the last one, and we were all like, yes! Then we got to a point that we woke up Jason's neighbours, and they were kicking off about it. It was so fun, and it's back to what Wayne said earlier on, that this is a fun game.
Yes.
It's, can be competitive, but it's He-Man for crying out loud. It is just pure fun, and that's why it had to go on my list here for number 5. I'm very surprised it was on yours, sir. I didn't think it would go on yours, but...
Yeah, like I said, it's come on and off a few times, but I just have one question for you. Have you been able to think about He-Man and anything other than his furry pants ever since I
No, thank you for that.
Question for you. Do you have the power?
I do have the power.
I have the power!
Or what was our favourite? It's the merman.
Oh, yeah. Merman never forgets. Neither does the sea. But good choice, sir. That's our first clash of the night.
Love that.
Wayne, number 5, sir.
My number 5 is not He-Man. I've not played He-Man. I really need to play He-Man. Is Maps of Mystera. Maps of Mystera is a phenomenal, really underrated tile laying game that hasn't got anywhere near enough buzz that I've seen on Tinterwebs. It is brilliant, absolutely fantastic.
Is this the one you picked up at Spill?
Yes, the one Matt picked up.
So I still need to play this one.
Yeah, we sat down, played it, literally 20 minutes in. Matt gets up and buys a copy.
No way.
And then sits back down and we continue the game. We
Nice.
literally continue. It's that good, I think. And he thinks so too. And he's like a massive dungeon
How freaking
crawler.
quick was that? 20 minutes?
Yeah, literally 20 minutes in. We picked up and then he sat down and we continued the game. And he's like a big dungeon crawler, a mirror trashy lover. He doesn't really like Eurogames. And this is like a Eurogame. It's a tile-laying Eurogame. But it's a really clever one. And the conceit of this, the clever thing is, you are explorers and you're trying to discover the mysterious island of Mystera, and you do that by placing tiles. The tiles have like an unconfirmed side and a confirmed side. And then as well as the central board where you're going to put tiles, you've got your own personal board where you're going to put sort of matching cards. And the cards will relate to different terrains. I could pick up, some plains and a lagoon, and I'll put that on my board. Then I'll put the relevant tiles on the main board. But I'll put them unconfirmed. That means someone else might come along and they might put different terrain, and that will mess with the actual terrain, because if it's unconfirmed, that means it's not solid. It's not. Yeah. We haven't guaranteed that that's a certain type of terrain yet. So for a Euro game, there is tons of interaction. I'm trying to make my personal map as accurate to the central map as possible, which is fine until someone comes along and fucks that up. And they instead will come along and actually they're going to change. That's not a lagoon. That's actually a forest. Blah blah blah. However, once you confirm a tile, that's it. It can never be changed again. And there's another interesting thing. So not only are you trying to make your personal map the same as the central map, while also trying to avoid everyone like fucking with the different terrain types, etc. You've got your personal objectives, which are like from your patrons, and they expect to see certain things in the island, and you're going to tell them, oh yeah, there was definitely a lagoon over here. Yeah, I drew it for you. So you've got a great tension between wanting to score points for your personal objectives or score points for making your map as accurate to the central island as possible.
Oh, okay.
So you either make it inaccurate but score your central your secret points, or you make it super accurate and score for the
so
main
like
points.
A backup scoring.
Yeah, exactly, backup scoring. And these two things don't always interlock very well. So you've got a stress between which one's going to score me the most points, and it's just really, really clever.
That sounds good, man.
It's really freaking good. I'm explaining it terribly because it's hard, but it's fucking great game, mate. It's not difficult to play. Plays in about 40 minutes.
How many players?
4 players. Really wonderful game. Yeah, if you come down next time, I'll get Matt to play it. It's brilliant. Yeah, great game. Yes. More buzz for this one. Go check it out.
Yeah, sounds good. What was it called again, sorry?
Maps of Mystera.
Maps of Mystera. I might be having a look at that.
I know you like a tile layer, don't you?
He does like a tile layer.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And I heard douchebaggery.
It is. There is
douchebaggery.
Straight up his
there is fuckery, mate. Yeah, you can look at my board and see what I'm going for. Like you say, I see your objectives that I'd have this sort of pattern of terrain.
So it's not even like a hidden.
No,
thing,
it's right in front of everybody. So you can go, you want that to be a lagoon, do you? Well, fuck you. That's now a forest. So like, So yeah, it's pretty fun.
So to coin an
that sounds right up your alley, mate.
It does. To coin one of your phrases, mate. A little bit of jizz might have just come out.
I love how you take that. Nice one, sir.
It's a good one. That's my number 5. Maps of Mystera.
Nice. Let's go to number 4.
Number 4.
Back to the game Professional. La Professional. Kingslayer Maker, Jizz Maker.
In fact, there you go. Back to your question earlier. Things that I really liked about this year. I got to King Make Wayne.
He did.
Oh, okay.
There you go. I forgot about that.
I'll take it.
Great. Okay, so this one is probably one that I'm really surprised appeared in my list, because it is a 2-player game. 2-player games don't usually appear in my list all that much because I don't normally get to play them. However, this one has broken that mould, and it is Sky Team.
I thought it might be Sky Team. It's a great game.
Nice.
It's a great pick.
Absolutely fantastic game. I was super pumped for this game coming out. Again, great thanks to you guys while you're out there, and Simon picking it up for me in Essen, because I'm not actually sure if it's arrived on the shores here yet.
I don't think so.
But damn it, I have it. And damn it, I've been playing it probably more times than anything else this year.
Really?
Without double checking. I've played this so much.
Which is good, because I'm like you. I went away from 2-player games because I struggled to get another player. Just because you're always, when you have a game night, you have more than 2 people there. So I always like Star Wars Rebellion, one of my favourite games of all time, and I never get that to the table. So I'm quite surprised you broke the mould, mate. Nice one.
And I'm really happy I did, and it's just it's beautiful because you've got that lovely little box. I've always been into aviation. I'm a trained aircraft mechanic and all that kind of stuff, so I'm proper into it. But having all the different modules, which adds to replay value. You've got the different airports, the different glide slopes, all adding to that replay value for ultimately what is 4 dice. And assigning those dice on a board, and it's like, well, if we do this, we crash and we die. If we don't do this, we crash and we die. And lots of crashing and dying.
You crash and die.
Lots of crashing and dying.
You crash and die.
It's a great game. It's a great game.
It is. It's so good. I'm amazed to see it on my list. I've played it with yourself while
you showed me how to play it,
waiting for people at my house for whatever. Because again, 10-15 minutes for a game.
Quick one, isn't it?
Really, really quick one. Nice and easy setup. 2-3 minute setup. 2-3 minute tear down. Everything inside of half an hour. It's perfect for when you're waiting for that inevitable person that always turns up late to a game night. And it's like, well, we've got about half hour before he turns up. Do you want a quick game?
Yeah.
Boom, we're done
for that, mate. Yeah, it's basically just a cooperative dice placer.
It is.
That's it. You place dice, but the whole, limited communication thing makes it really, really interesting, and you get tension where you're trying to convey as much information as possible with the placement of a dice. So, like, I want you to know exactly what I mean when I play this thing here, and then
they don't know.
And then they don't know what you mean. Why did you do this instead? We're going to crash. Great game. Yeah,
exactly. But I mean, the no communication thing is like screaming OCD, going, "No, it's not real. Yeah. It's not real."
I've started to use a phrase a lot more and more when I start to talk about games that I enjoy. I call it turn anxiety. Mm-hmm. And I love games that give me turn anxiety, like where I'm thinking, what do I do? Either in a competitive or a cooperative game. That does that very well.
Yep.
Turn anxiety.
Yeah, turn anxiety.
It's like a good form of anxiety.
Yeah, like
isn't
a turn.
it? I'm enjoying.
I don't know what to do. This gives me options. And
I've never really thought of it like that.
Yeah, I like games that do that to me. So I don't know why, but I do.
It's like the reverse of analysis paralysis, isn't it? I know exactly what to do and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
So have you gone to the full extent of the game? Like, have you done the add-ons and the fuel and all that stuff now?
All of the modules.
Nice.
And pretty
Isn't
much
there like
all
an
of the
internship
airports.
in there? Or
You've got an intern, which it's basically... See, I found that as the easiest module.
It is quite easy.
Because it actually helps you rather than hinders you, which is what I thought it was meant to do. The kerosene module I found was fairly interesting because if you
like a giant
don't
temperature
assign
control.
a die to it, you lose 6 fuel.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Whereas if you assign a die to it, you only lose whatever die you've assigned to it, but then you've lost that die for that round.
Right.
So that's an interesting one. My favourite one has to be
Wind?
the wind.
Yeah.
But also combining that with one of the really hard airports where you've got to keep it at a certain bank as you're coming down. Is like, I'm doing this extreme bank, but because I'm doing that extreme bank, my wind is going absolutely mental. So my tailwind is pushing me forward, which means I've got to get a low speed. It's like, oh, hang on a minute, we haven't done the low speed. We've just gone blitzing through.
I hate that dice that adds the planes to the...
Dude. And one of the great things about that game as well is how much is in the box. There's so much replayability in that box.
For the amount you pay for it, you get bang for your buck.
You really do, mate. 25, 30 euros.
You don't think about it because, I mean, your base game stuff, it's an airport, a glide slope, and one central board. The game is good at that.
Yeah.
But when you start adding those different modules, which you don't have to do, but I would advise anyone to do it, the bang for the buck just comes screaming out. As I said, it's one of my most played games this year.
It's good, man.
And
Great
it's
pick.
what, 25, 30 quid?
25, 30 euros.
Very good picks. I mean,
it's
again,
spot
it was
on.
another one that never intrigued me. Again, 2-player, airplane stuff, not my thing, whatnot. But when you introduced it to me, I ate my words completely. It was
I
definitely
was very
worth
surprised.
the
I
hype.
think the second time you come over, I was like, I'd love to play this
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go
Because
for it.
we just did the Montreal thing, so I was like, let's do more. Let's try harder, wasn't it? So yeah.
But yeah, that is my my number 4, Sky Team.
Good pick, sir. Good pick. My number 4 is going to be the expansion side of my top 5. This is an expansion. I'm not sure if you knew it was coming out this year, Wayne, but I know for a fact Jason didn't know what it was when it came out, and that is Crokinole Imperium.
Crokinole Imperium.
Yeah.
Yeah? Is it on your list?
It wasn't. I was looking at it, but I couldn't remember if it was released
It was this year
or not. And I was looking at it said 2022, but I was like, is that
Crokinole?
Crokinole Imperium.
Crokinole Imperium?
Like the flicky Crokinole. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
Crokinole.
absolutely.
Imperium.
An expansion
Adds
for an
tasks.
18th century board
Are
board
you
game.
fucking kidding
It's
me?
absolutely amazing, mate. Takes Crokinole to a whole other level.
Tell me more.
Right, so basically, again, Crokinole being an amazing game ever.
It is, yeah.
So it's a deck of cards with 3 different colours to them: blue, red, blue, and yellow. And basically, so a normal game of Crokinole is the first to 100 points, and you keep going to the first person gets 100. In Crokinole Imperium, it's the first person to 10. So you have to win a game to score a point, okay? And you have a choice of dealing out either the red, blue, or yellow of your choice, or you can have all 3. It's up to you. So the red one will give you an ability for the round. So, for example, you will score 40 points if you put it in the 20 instead. Or if you knock someone else's counter, you can take your disc back and have an extra turn. The blue will give you an objective. So it would be like, right, you have to try and knock 2 discs out in one shot, and then you'll get an extra point. So if you win the game, you get a point, or if you just do the objective, you get a point straight away regardless. And then the yellow one, which is probably, it's got to be the best,
Oh, it's amazing.
gives you a stipulation for the game. So it could be, for example, the scoring is reversed. So the 20 is now a 5, and the 15 is now at the 10, or
But
the
the
5,
rules
whatever.
still stand. You still, if the board
But
is empty, you still have to aim for the
You
centre.
still have to aim for the centre still. It's like a normal game, but it's like an absolute... and it's just fantastic. We've been knocking this out left, right and centre, and it's just the pure addiction of a simple card telling you, you can do this turn, you can do this that turn. And it's phenomenal. Who would have thought you can make Crokinole even better?
That's amazing.
And that's what Crokinole Imperium does.
That is amazing. I love Crokinole. Like, I've only played it with you. And, and you, actually. And it's freaking great.
You need to play it with Imperium,
I
dude.
do,
You would love it, honestly.
I bet. It sounds
Basically,
amazing.
everyone gets dealt if you're dealing out all three, it's like everyone gets a red and a blue, and then the yellow is an open one, so everyone's doing that one thing. But the red and the blues are a secret.
And as it goes
it's
around,
just kind of like, right, I've done that.
Yeah.
I've just gained a point.
And as it goes around, so
phenomenal.
say there's 3 people playing, that player chooses what cards to have. So you can just have a blue one this round, and it goes to me. Let's go for all 3. Goes to Jason. Let's go just red only.
But then if you become really good at Crocodile and actually achieving all your bonuses, if you're doing a round with all 3 and you win that round and you achieve all 3, you've gained 4 points. So you've done almost half straight away.
So again, it's a case of whether you want to get to that 10 even quicker.
Nice.
Or if you just want to move it out and go one at a time.
To quote James, he loves playing Crocodile, but he's terrible at it. He really likes Imperium because it gives him a chance.
Yeah, okay.
Because he can actually achieve those.
Yeah.
For a guy that doesn't like
objectives.
dexterity games as well, so
It's a leveler.
yes,
definitely.
definitely. Nice little expansion for it. Had to go in there. Good time to have by all with that. That's my number 4.
Great.
Basically,
great
just
shout.
a deck of cards as well.
That's it.
It's so good.
All it
It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing.
Number 4, Games Master.
My number 4 is, again, like Maps of Mystera, a completely unknown quantity to me before I went to Spiel, sat down and played it. And that is Haunted Lands by Ludus Magnus Studios. Didn't know a huge amount about that publisher before Spiel. Italian publisher. Matt loves them. But also they
No
did a
wonder.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So, but they did a game called DEI, which I've always been interested in but never bought. But that's another story for another day. But Haunted Lands is the most beautiful game, I think, of this year.
Wow, okay.
I genuinely think that, come to think about it, it's so fucking pretty. So this game, I sat down and played it, played a couple of rounds of it, and I went, oh, I'm buying that, that's amazing. Because it does a bunch of things that I really like. It's like a hodgepodge, more like a best of Euro mechanics. Like it's like a best of hits of Euro mechanics. You've got sort of hex exploration. You've got resource generation. You've got a little bit of resource management. You've got action selection. It's just fabulous. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. You are perceivers. You've got a little token in the game. That's your little meeple. And you'll be wandering around, generating resources, trying to get points. But there are little ghosts that have invaded the land, and you have to banish them because they'll stop you getting your resources, or they'll otherwise interrupt you in various ways. So you have to use your special banish action to banish the ghosts. But over the course of the game, the ghosts will become harder and harder to banish. And so you need to sort of level up your banishing ability or get other passive skills. Like in Smartphone Inc., where you sort of research text and you get passive buffs the rest of the game.
Yeah.
It's kind of that. You'll have different abilities you can unlock once you research them, in inverted commas, once you train in those abilities. It's just absolutely fabulous. And they'll do different things like increasing the amount that you might be able to harvest for different resources, or getting you different rewards if you banish the ghosts. It's just absolutely magic, and the production of this game is so gorgeous. The artwork is amazing, a very whimsical fantasy, almost Ghibli-esque, more like a dark, grim fantasy type tale, which is very good. Amazing double screen printed meeples, like everything is like wooden components, like wooden card. Everything is wooden and double side screen printed. Different types of meeples for different buildings, because you're going to be building buildings throughout the game that will get you different things. Like a windmill gets you, various wheat, and then you get a mine, and that will get you some stone, or a water mill will get you some water, all of that sort of stuff. And they've all got their own shapes, all little wooden shapes. Yep. And you get tons of those. All of the ghosties, they've got little wooden meeple ghosty spectres, and they're double side screen printed and varnished. You get a couple of beautiful dice. It's just a stunning game. It plays in about an hour, I want to say an hour.
Okay.
It's not
seems like more complex for just an hour, so that's not bad.
Yeah, so about an hour, but again, kind of like an intro to various, or a best of various Euro mechanisms. It's not super complicated, somewhere in the mid to lighter range. Not light, but not midweight, like somewhere between those two. Yeah. And if you like board games, I think it's hard not to like it. Right. I fell in love with it. We've got a review of that coming on the YouTube channel towards the end of the year. It's freaking great. So, and again, not enough buzz about this game. I'm upset with everybody. So everyone,
I'll be honest, I never heard of it. So,
exactly.
yeah.
I hadn't heard of it either until I went to Spiel. Everyone, go check out this game, Haunted Lands by Ludus Magnus Studios. It's releasing, I think, this week. So, now.
So when you say beautiful game, are you just talking about component-wise or actual artwork as well?
And artwork.
Yeah.
So components, gorgeous. Artwork, stunning. Just everything draws you into the little world. It's a Euro game, of course, so it's not going to be like hyper thematic.
You're a game with ghosts, though. It's good.
Yeah,
though.
little ghosties, and you can change the difficulty of the game because as you're playing the game, the ghosts will have one ability, and it'll be like you can't harvest on their spaces, for example. But you can also instead have it so that the ghosts stop your buildings working. Or you can have it that the ghosts make it harder to travel into their spaces, so you have to spend more travel actions to get there. Or if you want to be brutal, you can play with 1, 2, or all 3 of those and make it really hard. So the ghosts do all of that, which is, if you want to get hardcore, that's real fucking hard. Me and Matt played with 2 of the abilities, and the ghosts were brutal.
Damn.
And it's also one more thing on this. I'm sorry. And
No, keep going, please.
It's kind of like Living Forest, where it has a shared failure state.
Yep.
That's all you say. You love that.
Yeah, the shared failure state where I think in Living Forest it's fire goes out of control, right? Or something like that. If that goes out of control, everyone loses.
If it goes above seven fire tokens,
everybody loses.
Everyone loses, yeah.
So this is kind of like that in Haunted Lands. At the start of each round, there's going to be a haunt. So 4 more ghosts will go on various types of terrain. Also an interesting catch-up mechanism. The person in last place decides where the ghosts go, so you can really fuck with people by making it hard to move.
Or more douchebaggery for Jason.
Or stopping their buildings working.
Not in last place.
Yeah. In last place, you get to fuck with people with it. And because you're adding more ghosts every round, whenever you run out of the certain terrain type to put the ghosts on, they start to go in the central city hex. If there's no space in the central city hex, everybody loses, full stop. So you have to do a bit of ghost busting at some point. Otherwise, everyone just loses. It plays great at 2 players. At 2 players, the ghosts become incredibly difficult to deal with. At 4 players, then it's like a fight for territory, a bit more cutthroat for terrain and for building buildings. Brilliant game. Not enough buzz. Absolutely,
I want to give this a go. This sounds really good, man.
It's fucking great. Yeah, go check it out.
I like the
Haunted
sound of that
Lands.
one.
It's good. Yeah, I'll show you some pictures afterwards.
Yes, please. I'd like to see that artwork.
I'm supposed to be cutting down on the amount of games I have, mate.
Sorry, mate.
This is the problem with doing these episodes. I want to buy more now.
It's bloody good, yeah.
Let's do this. Number 3s.
Number 3.
Back to the Kingslayer.
Okie dokie. So, this one is the first and only game to date where I have actually moved faster than walking pace in order to be able to purchase said game,
Nice.
which was at Expo this year. On, I think it was day 2, I went to try and buy it, and it was sold out. They were getting more copies in for every day. On the Sunday was the day I decided to walk at a more brisk pace that was closer to a run, which for someone of my size is always an impressive sight. But it was Earth.
Earth, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Love that game.
Yes.
Yeah. Why did it make the list? Well, I really enjoy playing it. I like the sort of engine buildy type mechanic you get to it because it brings me back to thoughts of Wingspan.
Yeah.
But the problem I always had with Wingspan and why I sort of soured on it quicker than I thought I would was because I just kind of started getting bored. I knew what I wanted to do, and every game I was doing the same thing over and over again. I find with Earth, I can't do that. I find that in Earth, there's far more different paths that I can take.
Right.
And obviously the deck of cards in Earth is so much bigger than Wingspan, which really says a lot. But then you've got the planting mechanic where you're building trees. You've got the seedling mechanic where you're putting on the cubes on your card. Then you've got the mechanics on the cards themselves. Maybe you create a river with your cards, and it's like that gets you more points, and this gets you points, and that gets you points, and this gets... And then you've got the central points in the middle of the board. I'm just... There's points going on everywhere. But it's one of those games that if you score less than 250 points, you must have had a really bad game. You know, so...
This was one of your big ones for Expo, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And it was one of those, when I went into Expo, I knew of it, but I really wasn't sold on it. But then I think the Friday at Expo, it sold out in mere minutes. And I was actually conducting an interview on the stand opposite. And I was just sitting there talking to, I can't remember which publisher it was I was talking to at the time, but was just watching the stand and just watching these copies fly
off the shelves.
Off the shelf. And I was like, it was only a 10, 15-minute interview. And in that time, gone.
Wow.
And I'm just sort of like, I must be missing something about this game, which is why on the Saturday I tried, but I still wasn't like.
Was it released that weekend then for the first time, or
I think it was the first time in the UK. I'm not 100%, but much like everything, we end up waiting forever for these things in the UK. So if things are going to be at Expo,
we're always last, aren't we? So
you kind of have to try and buy them there. But I just like that engine building mechanic to it. There is somewhat an element of player interaction, but not a great deal, which is a bit of a downer. I'd like maybe a little bit more douchebaggery in my games, but there's not too much of that. There is obviously the race if you want to achieve the high points of achieving the central objectives first, but you never get penalised if you don't, because there's 4 different levels, 4 players. You're always going to get something for it. But I just really, really enjoy it. I have got a, I guess, deluxeified version. So I've got all the little Kickstarter bonuses and stuff, but ultimately the retail edition is more than enough. I would recommend it to anyone. I actually am a bit upset with myself that we haven't played it for quite a few months at this point.
Yeah, I've only played it once of yours, and when you said that, I kept thinking of the other one, Earth Rising or something.
Yeah.
And that's where I got the confusion at, so I think I need to play that again, just to refresh.
See, Earth Rising was another game that actually delivered this year. Very, very good game. A very, very hard co-op game.
I preferred Earth, though, to be honest, out of the
but
two.
Yeah, Earth 100% takes that. It's become one of my favourite games. It's maybe top 20 games for me. I don't know if it's broken the top 10 at this point. I'd have to play it again, see how I feel. But I just remember having great fun. I remember every time playing it, people coming over and checking it out and going, oh, I'd like to play that. And it's like, okay, well, I'm playing this next week then, aren't I? And there was a period where I was playing it, I think it was about 5 weeks in a row, because people just wanted to keep playing it. It's like, okay, cool, I now need to take a break from this. The problem is that break has been too long. So I really enjoy the game. Earth, I think it's Inside Up Games. It was that good that I immediately went on and backed their current Kickstarter, which I think was for Terminus, which I hadn't looked at. I didn't even look at the Kickstarter page. So same designer, same publisher.
Love it. Nice.
Back it.
Nice, mate.
Yeah, there you go.
So it was worth the pick up in the end when you struggled to get that copy. So
100%. I regret not buying all the neoprene mats to make it.
That makes it all worth the while at the end of the day.
It does. Yeah.
Nice.
I won't run for a game for a while.
Run?
That's it, done.
Yeah. It was a
in other words, you make James go get it.
You must be joking. I actually want it.
Fair enough.
If I want something, I've got to get it myself.
Nice.
But yeah, Earth. Thank you.
Right, my number 3 is a game that was introduced by Board Stupid at the Game Expo. Hello, Tom, if you're listening. And I've gone for Planet Unknown.
What a game, mate.
I really fucking love this game. There was 2 games that I really enjoyed out of Expo, or actually getting to play at Expo, and I think they dumbed it down to just one playthrough of Planet Unknown. I ended up buying it a couple of months after, thinking my group love it. They love it as well. And I love the simplicity of it. It's literally just build a planet and start upgrading your stats and whatnot. The lazy decision is what makes it all, really, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's just a simple mechanic, but it works so well. And it's just a simple turn of spin it, lock it, take a piece, add it, and then everyone gets to do that. It is so good, and it looks so intimidating as a board game to look at. Because if I saw that and saw a bunch, well, I think it goes up to 6, doesn't it? If I saw 6 people playing that, and I'd be like, right, this is definitely not for me. But thank you, Tom, for teaching us this and giving it a go, because it was right up there. Obviously made the top 5. It is a game I thought I would never, ever like. And it was one of those games I was literally thinking about on the car journey home from Expo. There's also, that's just the basic side of it. Obviously, there are other ways you can have a planet with different alternatives and different ways. Each one can have a different planet. Each one can score their stats differently as well. It's just so fun and so simple. And I'm glad it got onto the nominations for Game of the Year, but obviously didn't win it. I can't deny. I
should have done. I'll be honest. I think Planet Unknown should have won the Kennerspiel. It's the
Really?
it's the best game. It's better than Challengers. It's the best game. It's,
Nice.
It's an incredible game. The whole polyomino tetronomo placement. I love that. It does it in such a great way. I like also about Planet Unknown and that everything's like simultaneous. So it doesn't really matter if you've got 6 players or 3 players.
It's it.
Plays about the same time.
Yeah, because everyone's doing that turn.
Yeah, I think it's freaking awesome. It's so good. Yeah, all the different ways that you can attack your planet and upgrade it. It's just absolutely magic.
And I just love how there's other things on there. It's not just building. You have to go and clear meteorites. You have to go and get life pods and whatnot.
Yes.
And there's so many ways to earn victory points at the end of this game. I love this so much that I just backed the expansion for it, which is the Super Moon based one.
Nice.
And all the planets are now in playmat form as well. So had to be done. I had to do it. So hopefully April next year. That was one thing I'm looking forward to next year, by the way.
Also.
Have you played it yet, Jace?
I haven't.
Dude,
I've been
so good.
on the list to play it twice, and both times they've been at game clubs I've been involved in, and someone else has been without a game and has wanted to join in, so I've obviously surrendered my spot twice. So,
Hopefully try and make that
it's
a
a
thing
game
then.
I do want to play.
Yeah, make it happen,
I
mate.
constantly hear good things about it.
It's bloody good. It's a great tile placement game and loads of replayability in the edge. You've got like advanced sides, right, for each of the planets and different corporations. It's just great. Really good game.
And I love how you can do that on the score track. You can name your planet and your corporation as well.
It's brilliant.
It's awesome.
Love it.
Planet Jeff Goldblum, Jason.
Dude.
Oh, yeah.
Great game, great pick.
Has to be the first name on every game that you can name something. Jeff Goldblum.
That's my number 3, Mr. Games Master. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is my controversial pick. And so I've got my controversial pick and then I've got my adjustment pick, which we'll do. So, but I'm going to go with the controversy because that's more fun. My number 3, and it's probably the only reason it's number 3 is because it's controversial. Otherwise, it would probably be my number 1, and that's Big Boss.
Very
okay.
controversial.
That's the remake one, is it?
Big Boss is a game from 1995. Was never ever released in English until this year. It has never been released in English.
Who released it this year?
It was Funko Games.
Right, okay.
Who released it.
Oh, yes, this is the one you took to Expo.
That's
yes,
the one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. And the production for it is brilliant. It's got this great 1920s, 1930s Art Deco aesthetic. And if you don't know about the legendary Big Boss, it is basically a stocks and shares game where you are founding and investing in different companies, trying to have the most money at the end. Everything gets converted into money, all your shares at the end of the game, and most cash wins. The great thing there's so many great things about this game. They completely updated the rule set. They worked with the original designer, Michael Kramer, legend, to update the rules for like a modern audience, like a modern Euro audience. And the updates are just perfect. Like, it's so good. It's got a great open market system. You've played it, haven't you, Ant, with us?
Yeah, we played it at Expo.
Expo. So, and I love so much about it. I mean, it's got vibes of Chinatown, where you've got all the different like numbers on the thing, or Foundations of Rome, where you're like trying city. You've got, got a city building type vibe.
And that's when you've got to try and connect them to one another and stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
So, and you're building vertically as well. It's got a great verticality. I love games that have that sort of height to them because you're placing little plastic, what are essentially Duplo blocks, which represent the buildings becoming bigger and bigger. And eventually corporations will become so big they'll start to merge with each other, and the big one will eat the small one, like in real life. And that will be a merger, and if you've got shares in those companies, you're going to get a big old payout because that's how business works.
There's like a tracker that monitors that as well, doesn't it? So you know what you're going to get, isn't it?
Quite, yeah. So so you've got your tracker for the share values for each of the companies. That's right, for each of the companies. It's just, and it's so elegant, and I hate that word sometimes because it's overused in board games, but it really is. You do one thing on your turn, and that's it. You either buy a card or you play a card. And that is it. I mean, and I fucking love it. And when you play a card, it has a bunch of knock-on effects that happen, and everyone gets excited. When you're buying a card, you're buying from an open market, and that's always stressful. Turn anxiety.
Yep.
When I'm sitting there looking at a card I really want, and I've got 3 people before me, and I'm like, don't you dare fucking buy that card. Don't you buy that. You son of a bitch, you bought that card. I really needed that card to make my set and create my big mega company. And it happens all the time in that game, and that stress is part of what makes it incredible. There's also this weird sort of flow of the game where there's something mysterious about it, about how to get good at it, that I think is really, really addictive. It just something magical about the experience. It plays 5 really well, which is many games play 5.
And you're not a big fan of over 4 players, really?
Not really,
yeah.
no. And I tend to think 3 games at 3 is probably, I think, a really good number for most games.
Yeah.
But it plays 5. There's not many games that play 5 very well. It plays 5 excellently, like as well as at 3 and as well as at 4, easily. And also a weird thing about that game is you don't have a player piece. There is nothing that's technically yours on the board. You just have shares in different companies, but people might have shares in those companies as well. So it's just you have interests in different stakes around the board, and I find that really interesting and very different from the norm in board games where you have a piece that represents you and your player thing or your cards or whatever. No, nothing's yours. Just how much have you invested in these different things?
Again, sticking with the theme incredibly well, isn't it? Because, you go to any company, it's like, do you know any of the investors in this company? No, of course you don't.
It's all transient, mate.
Yeah, exactly. You're just a number.
Just a number, mate. Yeah, there's just some stockholder somewhere has got some money in this and a bunch of other ones in their portfolio. And it's the game. Production amazing, incredible game, great fun, doesn't play too long, very simple to teach, but has a complexity of strategy that belies its simplicity. Phenomenal game. Easily my number 3. Only controversial because it's an old game, but for the first time ever released in English, as far as I'm concerned, it's a new release in 2023. Yeah. Should be the top thing on everyone's list because it's like 25 quid. I mean, why aren't you buying it, frankly?
Take it, yeah.
Right. If that's too controversial for your listeners, then in number 3 is Haunted Lands, and Sky Team is number 4. Job done.
Fair enough. All right, so you've jumped. Yeah, okay. We'll take it. We'll allow it. Fuck you, listeners.
Yeah. I bump a couple of things around if that's too much for people.
No.
Yeah,
Stick with Big Boss, mate, because you had a blast with that game this year. It'd be stupid not to be on the list.
It's fucking great, mate. Yeah.
So I'd argue to say, I don't think that's a particularly controversial pick because, one, it's only being released in English now, so that is a new game to us.
New rule set too.
But core thing here is while I've not played the game, I know a fair bit about it. It's different rules. They did change the rules. If it's a game where they've not touched the rules at all, like, for example, I'm thinking Food Chain Magnate that they've just done on
El Grande.
Game Farmed.
Yeah.
That is literally an aesthetic
Yeah.
upgrade. That is not a new game.
Yeah.
That is just a purely aesthetic upgrade.
Rehash.
That would not be in my list for 2024, because it's not a new game, whereas Big Boss definitely qualifies because it's got new rules. You can play the old rules if you want, because I believe they include them.
They've got a variant in there that you can mess about with, yeah.
I don't think that's controversial at all, mate. Very good.
We'll take it, mate.
There we go. That's it. That's my.
There'll probably be Simon and Tom going,
fuck you. It's my number 3.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's go to number 2 then.
Number 2.
Mr. Kingslayer, number 2.
I really need to get used to the fact that it's me going first because I have to keep looking at the list right as you're doing the effect. Okay, so I'm sticking an expansion into my list.
Ooh.
This one was jostling for number 1 quite a bit because the original game I absolutely love, one of my all-time favourite games, and the expansion has made it even better. Ark Nova Marine World.
You fucking love some Ark Nova.
Was going to be honourable mention.
I love me some Ark Nova.
Yes, you do.
And you know what? What this expansion has done is made me play Ark Nova again.
Nice. Okay.
Now, Ark Nova, as I said, is one of my favourite games, but it got to the point where I wasn't playing it because it was a ball ache to set up.
Yeah.
It was a ball ache to teach. And Marine Worlds has just got me like, no, sorry, I want to play. And we've played it
Going to make the effort
6, 7, 8 times in the last month and a half. Which for a game that's 2, 3, 4 hours, if you're playing with really annoyingly long time taking people. But yeah, it's really good. I love the fact that it's introduced the drafting mechanic of those of your cards, because now they've introduced asymmetry to the game, which is awesome. Because some of them are dirty as hell, but because you're drafting them, everyone's going to get some dirty cards and everyone's going to be playing differently. Love that. I love the wave mechanic that they've introduced, because one of the key problems with the original Art Nova is that deck cycling just wasn't enough. That's now sorted. You've now got it cycling through that deck really quickly, which is great because they added another 100 odd cards. So brilliant variation in that. You've now got the coral mechanic where if you're playing the fish mechanics, which is Ant's favourite
My
thing.
favourite.
You know, where you're playing that and then they're activating all the other coral fish and douchebaggery happens. Gives me enough time to go and make a cup of tea while Ant's resolving all of his coral fish. What else? I mean, upgraded pieces.
Nice.
As simple as they've given you some upgraded pieces for the original base game to go, yeah, we want to add a bit more theme to the game. All those cubes, you might as well bin them, because now we're going to give you penguins or monkeys and stuff like that. Really, really cool. Nice little aesthetic upgrade. Didn't need to do it, but it added to the expansion, and the expansion was only £20-ish, I think. And
Worth
yet
it,
it's
mate.
added so much replayability to that game.
I admit I've had more fun with it than the original, most definitely.
100%.
We played it a couple of times in the past couple of months, wasn't it? And it was good to get back to it, because it'd been a year since I played that again, and like going back to it, trying to remember everything. You should probably pissed off at me constantly asking questions and stuff, but no, yeah, I can see why it was on there. I honestly thought it might be a number one. It was an honourable mention for me.
Oh, it was so close. It was so close to being number one.
So I'm intrigued what the number one is now.
But it didn't quite. I kind of feel sorry for Simon, because Simon was one of the ones that we did play the game with, and obviously the only experience he'd had at Art Nova before that was the 3 turns that we'd done at Expo, like a year and a half beforehand.
Yeah.
So he was really thrown in at the deep end, because it was like, no, I'm playing with the expansion whether you like it or not.
Yeah, crack on.
So you need to learn all of this in one go.
It's a lot for anyone, to be fair.
Exactly.
It's a
but he picked it up really well. I think he came second in the game from what I remember.
He did, yes. Considering that he was, like you said, thrown in the deep end, he did really fucking well.
He did. But yeah, Marine Worlds is absolutely amazing. I'm at a point now where I don't want anything more for Ark Nova. Maybe a few extra.
What could they do, though?
I mean, they'll probably do some more maps.
Farm animals or something.
You know, they might add in more farm animals. There's probably a lot they could do, but whether I want them to do it, I don't think so. I think it's now... The expansion has dealt with the minuscule amount of problems that the original base game had. So now, I find it very hard to sort of look at Art Nova and go, what about this game is not perfect? Other than the...
I'll fucking tell you.
Stupidly long time.
I'll fucking tell him I will.
You don't like
We'll
it.
have another conversation about that.
But yeah, Art
You should have
Nova-
done that in the Michael Caine voice. That'd been brilliant.
But yeah, ignore what Wayne says. Art Nova is an amazing game and is even better with Marine
Good
Worlds.
picks. I honestly thought that was going to be number one. I was like, very surprised. Very, very surprised on that
So
one.
am I.
Very nice.
Nice. Right. Sorry, anything else on that before we go around?
Nothing at all.
My number 2, I'm sorry, Wayne, it had to go up there, but Challenges is my number 2.
That's a great game.
Yes.
It was very close to swapping between the two. The only reason I like it on a little bit more is that it's a bit more family friendly.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is what I'm looking forward to doing. Last year we done the top 5 board games to play at Christmas. This is one I cannot wait to bring to the table because of the amount of players it can hold up. One, not the simplicity of the game and how you play it. It's literally just a deck of cards. Which one has the highest? Take the flag. Done. The deck building in it is phenomenal. I love the fact that you're limited to what you can take per round, what you can get rid of per round. The different types of cards you can have and some of the stipulations they can have on them and everything. It is so good. It is so fun. It's just, there's never been a bad game with it. Full stop. Even when I play it with 3 people and you throw the AI in. The AI, come on, is not too bad for an AI system of a card game, you have to admit.
the objection to the fact that I can actually lose to the AI.
Yes, this is the thing.
I don't feel I should be able to do that in this
You
family.
should. That's the point of the AI.
Not get absolutely trounced by the AI.
All right, beat your ass. Okay, fair enough.
This game I loved so much. I was looking forward to number 2 coming out this year. I believe it's next year now, which is a shame. So it'll be one thing to look forward to for next year.
Yeah.
The another rule I do like at this game. So, for example, Wayne, if you win challenges, you can play the person in second again to be just a champion, full stop. So you've won challenges, but now you can be a champion and just beat their ass even more. So I think that's quite a nice little add-on to it, whatnot. But I can't deny how much fun this game is. And again, back to what you were saying, it's all about fun.
Most important thing, mate. Have you had fun?
Exactly.
That's it. Fun
And
factor.
I don't know if you played it or not. I know you prefer playing it on it unknown, but just give it a try, man. I think you'll just like to give it a go, man.
Yeah, I'm joshing with you, mate. I've not played challenges.
Nice.
I know it's done very exceptionally well. It won the Kennerspiel for a reason, and it's much lighter, I think, right?
But I do go with what you said. I think Planet Unknown should have won for what it is.
Yeah, like as a game, but like
see it.
The Spiel judges, they look more towards like family, like games. Even in the Kennerspiel category, they prefer it to be family,
especially over the last few years.
The
family games have been.
Yeah, do you know, I would want to do like a big tournament with you. Right? I think we're going to
and we'll
try and do that at some point because I'm dead keen on it. I would love to fucking play, and like any game that can happily play that number of players in a reasonable time frame, I think is phenomenal because it's hard to do and make a good game out of it.
Yeah,
like it's really difficult. A lot of games in that category are more like social deduction or much simpler or like a dice chucky games. But to have that as like a card game, like deck building, challenging battling game,
and the thing is, you never go out of the tournament full stop. You are there for 8 rounds regardless of how many points you get. You never I lost round 5, I'm out now. No, you keep going.
Incredible.
So again,
love it.
Yeah, see, I bought that recently, and that is my my air quotes party game for this Christmas is challenges.
Dude, yeah, it's something I do not have enough of, which is good games at high player counts. I just don't have enough of them. At least not ones that are like light enough for me to be able to just play with anyone.
Yeah,
like I've got games that I'm like, I'd love to play Captain Sonar, but half of you won't actually want to play this because you wouldn't be interested. It's more like yeah, but something like challenges I think might be perfect, mate. Might end up picking a copy anyway.
Yeah, it's really good and a good value game as well.
Nice.
Yeah, I think 25 quid, 25, 30 pounds.
Hell yeah. Yeah, good.
There's 4 neoprene mats in it as well. So it's
mate, the year
really
of good value gaming, I think.
Yeah.
Good.
Very, very good.
So that's my number 2. Games Master, what is your number 2?
What is my number 2? I'm going to keep you hanging while I try and reopen my phone and double check. Of course it's
Can I put some drums?
Why am I even looking? My number 2 is Moon by Sinister Fish Games.
Oh, nice.
Moon. I played that for the first time at UK Games Expo, and it was fucking wonderful. Didn't buy a copy. Don't know why. Idiot. Should have just bought it there and then. However, bought it because it went out of print. Found a copy. Bought it. Then Sinister Fish got in touch and went, do you want an affiliate link? We'll send you a copy of Moon. I was like, you fucking bastard.
No way.
Literally the week after I bought a copy of Moon because I was looking for one for ages. I got one. Oh, it's back in print. I'll find that. Anyway, regardless, played the ever-loving shit out of it in the last couple of weeks, and it's just brilliant. I mean, I love it. I think it's possibly the best pick and pass card drafting game released in the past 5 years, possibly 10. It's amazing.
Wow.
We've got a review of that on the YouTube channel, which you can go and check out. And the subtitle of the video is Moon Pick and Pass Perfection. I literally think it is pick and pass perfection. Again, turn anxiety. Card drafting is perfect for that because I look at all of these amazing cards, I get one of them, and you're telling me I've got to give all of the rest of the amazing ones to my opponent. Mm-hmm. Are you fucking shitting me? So that's a great thing about card drafting. Look at my cards, pick one, the rest you get. And I'm like, fuck, what are you going to take out of that? Is this card that I also really wanted going to come back to me?
Yeah.
No, it's not. Never fucking does. Never does, mate. So the beautiful thing about card drafting. So it does that, and that is the game. It's card drafting the game. And much like if anyone's played Seven Wonders, you take the card and you add it to your base. But more complex than Seven Wonders, they'll have various triggering effects. There's an end of round sort of scoring effect based on if you've got the majority of a certain type of flag. You've got different objectives that you can aim for in the game, both easy and difficult objectives. And if you get those, they'll give you a passive bonus for the rest of the game, and that will get you extra points. I think it is phenomenal. The production is great. It's mostly cards, apart from some sort of wooden moon meeples.
Moon rover
with meeples,
yeah.
Exactly.
They're cool.
They're really cool.
I really like the Moon Rovers.
And just speaking of the Moon Rovers, that is one of the brilliant mechanisms of this game as well. It's one of the unique things that it does is once you pick a card, you put it in your base, you pay the resource cost in order to build the thing and have it in your base. It's then got like a little Moon Rover space where other players can come and use it and get a resource, which is great. But then you've also got your own Moon Rovers, which you can send out and use other people's resources. But when you send those Moon Rovers out, you don't get them back. they go to your opponent and they keep them for the next round.
Oh, no.
So the more Moon Rovers you use, you're getting resources for that round, but you're giving other people Moon Rovers to then use against you. Yeah. Fucking brilliant.
What a balance to that.
Yeah. So clever. I was like, that's genius.
I think back to the game we played at yours recently, and it was like one of the first cards I had was giving me a Moon Rover. Like I was just churning
every round. You're churning them out.
Moon Rovers, taking stuff from you. You guys were gaining Moon Rovers, but then we're using my base.
Yeah, exactly.
All the times I just constantly had like 12 Moon Rovers to do.
Bloody hell.
Really, really good. And also, great thing about the Moon Rovers as a mechanism, they become a tiebreaker for stuff.
Yeah.
And that's really important because when you're scoring for things that you have a majority of, the tiebreaker becomes essential. Because if you've got 4 players at the table, ties happen quite a lot. So having the most rovers is super important. Brilliant game. Loads of interacting card effects, loads of funky different things you can do, like tapping cards or using other people's abilities and doing other stuff like that. Loads of game breaking, like funky combos. If you like card games, you like card drafting, you like interesting design that doesn't take itself too seriously and is also very interactive for a Euro game, which is one of the things I kind of look for. I mean, I love Eurogames, right? That's my jam.
Yeah, yeah.
Mid-weight Eurogames playing under 2 hours. That's basically everything in my collection for the most part. If you've got something like that has Euro sensibilities, but also has sort of American style head-to-head interaction where you're fucking with people in some way or using their stuff, that's like the sweet spot for me. It does that brilliantly.
Nice.
Moon's my number 2.
That is a really good pick. I really enjoyed the games we played of Moon at yours. So yeah,
it's a good one.
Love it.
Nice, good pick, sir.
Thank you.
We will go to the final ones then.
It's number 1.
Bring it home, Kingslayer. What is the number 1?
I'm really amazed that you are trying to figure out what this game will be.
After Ark Nova now, I'm
genuinely
baffled,
shocked, and I think I have a distinct feeling we might have a bit of a crossover, but I could be wrong. Because my number 1 for games this year is now in my top 5 games of all time.
What?
Which is Distilled.
Distilled is such a great game.
Fucking course. It's not on my list, though. Don't worry.
Okay, I'm actually quite surprised.
It's a great game.
Yeah.
I saw it here. Haven't played it yet.
I have fallen head over heels in love with Distilled.
I was very shocked at this. You took such a shine to this when we played it at mine for the first time.
Yeah,
it's like,
I love the theme. I love the gameplay. I detest how I feel about the fact that I didn't buy it when I saw it at Expo. I knew about it. I loved the theme and all that. And I sort of got there, and much like what you were saying earlier, I saw the price while we were at Expo.
Yeah.
I was like, do you know what? I can afford it, but
Not going up. It's the same thing I did
do
with
I
Moon.
want to take that
Yeah.
risk?
Yeah.
And I didn't, and it was the biggest mistake I've made this year. Luckily, you picked it up, Ant, and we gamed it at mine. And from the first play, probably the first couple of rounds, I was hooked.
You're like, I like
that.
this
Was it? It's like this
very
is
much.
so good.
Yeah.
There's no real douchebaggery in it. There's no sticking it to the other players. There's a little bit.
there is turn anxiety in it, though.
But there is a bit of turn anxiety because you've got that open. There's
that spring water one. You better not fucking buy it.
Yeah, love it. Love those. Open market.
Yeah.
Love an open market.
A lovely open market, and it's just that whole thing is, I'm putting all this into my brew, and I'm going to mix up my cards, and then you've got to do the thematic thing. I've got to top and tail the deck, because that's what you do with
the mixing.
real mixing of booze. And then turn my cards over. What can I make? Oh, fucking moonshine again. Fuck's sake.
Love it.
I took out the key ingredients to make my whiskey.
Oh.
So I've ended up with either moonshine or just some flowery water.
Dude, I'm dying to play Distilled. I've heard so much good stuff, and I feel like I would absolutely fucking love it.
You will, mate.
It sounds like it fits right in that spot that I enjoy. Yeah. Like, I really need to play that game.
I went out of my way. I went and bought it. And
to be honest, we was going to bring it to yours that second time, but we thought it can go on a bit.
Fair play.
So we thought we didn't want to take up most of the day for
Next
it.
time.
So
I think it's one of those, like, if you're having a game day, maybe next time we have a game day, I'll actually suggest it, and we'll make sure that we bring it, because at least then we know it's on the table. We know that it needs to be played. But yeah, I've gone out. I've bought the expansions. I'm going to be buying the the upgrades and all that kind of jazz for it. I love that. I love that game. I love it.
The aging part I love as well. I love the aging.
Yeah, the aging. That's something unique to me as well. Like, I could sell this booze because I could really do with the money to be able to buy stuff next to them. But no, I'm going to stick it in a barrel. I'm going to leave it there aging. And you add those aging cards.
Flavor cards.
Without knowing what they are. And then right at the end of the game, it's not part of it, but we made it part of it, which made the game fun. It's like, right, I'm selling my aged thing. And it's an aged whiskey and its flavour is old socks, skunk, and strawberries.
And spicy maple.
Love it. But, it doesn't change anything about it. It's just a thing that you get more points for the more flavour cards you have. But it just and you add in that little extra game amongst friends of going, sell me your drink.
Yeah, sell me what it is. Tell me what it is.
Yeah. And literally do that sales pitch. It's like, what we have is a lovely
25-year
aged whiskey that it tastes of skunk.
You can buy specific bottles for it and everything, can't you?
And the essence of strawberries.
And it's
got a oaky afterbirth to it.
Incredible, man. I have to play this game. It sounds so good.
I think you'll
Why did I not fucking think of that? Of course it was going to be distills.
But yeah, no, all joking aside, it has actually shot into my top 5 of all time.
That's crazy,
Spoiler
man.
for the episode that we're going to be doing. It's now in there.
That's crazy.
It's knocked something out of that top spot.
We'll find out what it is when we do that. That'll be fun to do. Can't wait to do that.
It's knocked something out. Yeah. So there you
I knew you liked it, but I didn't think it'd be that far. Wow.
Yeah, I really, really like that game. And added bonus, my missus likes it as well. So
even better, mate.
Which I really didn't think she would.
Do you know what? On that note, my partner Christina, she fucking loves Big Boss as well. It's like a double bonus, like where she likes, and Moon actually quite enjoyed that, and Haunted Lands. All these games for some reason have also picked that Christina really fucking likes them. So
that's good, though, man. It's good to get your partner into it as well.
Hell yeah, and yeah, she likes these ones. So it's with that I have to play it, mate. And the pair of you will get a date in. We'll play that.
Yes, please, mate. And then play all your
Haunted Lands
2 to 5 so far.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Play that one, and that one, and that one.
That's it.
Nice, great number 1, mate.
There you go.
Anything else?
That's all I'm going to say about it.
Go back and listen to the episode, guys, if you want to hear it.
Yeah.
Right, my number 1. Right, you talked about turn anxiety.
Yeah.
This game personifies turn anxiety. So this was a game that I stumbled upon at Expo at the WizKid stand. And whilst I was waiting to meet up with my colleagues here that are sitting by the table, I got to play Age of Heroes, Marvel's worker placement game.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I put this at number 1 because this is a tough son of a bitch. And I love worker placement games. Like yours is Euros, mine is worker placements. This one, as well as being, I don't care about being Marvel, but X-Men is my jam. I fucking love X-Men. Very quickly in this game, your board is essentially, the top half of it is Xavier Manor, and the bottom half is the X-Jet. You are essentially every time trying to defeat enemies, and when you have to do that, you have to build up your characters to do so. But the only problem is there's one space for everything, and this goes up to 5 players. So if you want to build up your wisdom, your strength and whatnot, this is the part where you don't want yourself or Jason to go on that space because I fucking want it. Mm-hmm. So in order to do so, we have to bring in other students from the X-Men franchise and get them to build up your strength, your wisdom and stuff. The second half of the board is when you go on the X-Jet. Now, there is only one spot on there, again, to upgrade your attack on a certain villain, for example. But everyone else can go on the X-Jet, but you can't upgrade it unless you're on the first place spot. So again, it's all that rush to just get to that specific space to it. I love the replayability of it because you can have so many different characters, and then you have to get to a final boss. Now, the final boss is obviously your final test, but you can have different ones every time you play this game. The artwork in this is very much like the Jim Lee run of the X-Men run, which is, again, my favourite X-Men run of all time. I also love the stands or the figurines for it. They're acrylic. That was the first time I got to see acrylic stands, so that's another big thing for me.
I love acrylic standees. Love it.
I do like the fact that you're limited to characters as well. For example, Wayne, if you ever wanted to be Wolverine, you have to be Jubilee as well. So there's, again, limitations that you have to have a good side and bad side to it. If you want to be Cyclops, for example, you have to have Jean Grey with you. So there are limits to your tag team or your X team that you go against. The turn order is a fucking son of a bitch in this game because it's one of those cases where you want to be first because there's a point in this game where you know, right, I'm going to do this next and I have to do this next. Very much like worker placement, but you've only got one space to do it.
Yeah.
So do I pass on this turn to be first place? And the way they do it on the board, again, it's gorgeous looking artwork and shines at you with all these colours and stuff, but the chart of how they do the player turn is phenomenal. And again, it's better to show it to you. I can't really explain it on here. But this was just something a massive surprise to me because, again, never knew anything about this game. Never knew this game was even in the works. Unfortunately, I had to get rid of another Marvel game that I really liked because, again, it wasn't come to the table. This has come to the table more than Marvel United full stop.
Wow.
And thank you, Laser Podcasting, for playing, as well as my gaming group guys. Absolutely loved it. There are 3 different main storylines you can do in this. So, again, with different characters, with different bosses, or an actual storyline to follow along. If you're very familiar with the comic books, it is just fantastic. And let's hope you do an expansion with kids. I hope you're fucking hearing.
Yeah.
If you like worker placements, I highly recommend just give it a shot. If you don't like it, that's fine. But just to say you've played it would be a big thing to just give it a try and give it a go.
What a pick, mate. Like, I didn't play it yet, but it looked amazing. So I remember seeing it at Expo. Really. I love acrylic standees as well. I mean, I think more games should put those in because they look so fucking great.
I'm noticing that is becoming a bit more of a thing.
Much more easily storable as well.
Year.
Yeah, you don't have to have a massive box full of minis.
Because it's one thing it has always annoyed me is I've never really been into the standees. One, because cardboard standees were never that great. But also, if you're putting the little clips on and off all the time, you eventually wear them out, whereas you don't have that issue with acrylic standees.
Yeah, my option is always going to be wood, but if I can't have wood, like acrylic, that's pretty good. Awesome, man. What a number 1 pick. And you've had, again, fun factor, it's got to be number 1 for you, right? And you love a Marvel theme as well, right?
I do. I'm not massively into Marvel, but again, it was just the fact that it was something I took a chance on whilst I was waiting to meet up with people, and it was there. If I hadn't done, I wouldn't have got to play it. I wouldn't have got to buy it then either. So it was just, right place, right time, bang. And a fucking fantastic game.
Amazing.
Nice.
What's your number 1 Games Master? Bring it home, sir.
I'll bring it home. Any guesses for my number 1, gents?
I am going with... No, I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. My number 1...
No, go on. No.
Okay, my number 1... What am I doing? My number 1 is Art Society.
Yeah, I thought... Yeah.
By Mighty Boards. Art Society is just...
What a game. I do love this game.
Because you played this with me, right?
I did, yes.
Yeah, you enjoyed it?
I did, yeah.
Have you played this with me?
I haven't got to play Art Society.
We're going to have to do this. Again, play under an hour.
Heard nothing but great things about it.
Yeah, plays in under an hour. Great game. Again, it's all about that fun factor, and I've always had a fun time with this game. It combines 2 great things. It combines bidding and tile placement with the most amazing artwork. It's just the art is phenomenal.
So thematic as well.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
Thematic. You're essentially competing art collectors trying to make, the best art collection on your gallery wall. And you're going to do that by having various bits of art to bid on every single round. And you're all going to be making a secret bid and then revealing at the same time, with the highest bid getting first pick of the art and the lowest bid getting last pick of the art. And that's very interesting for a couple of reasons. When you're last, not only do you get last pick, you also get to decide which piece of art goes in the museum, which increases the value of that type of art over time and at the end of the game. So sometimes you want to deliberately bid low, not to buy art, but to manipulate the museum and the price of the art, the price of the art market. Absolutely, really, really interesting. But then also you might want to bid really, really high because you've got the perfect piece of art to put in your gallery. And you're going to be, it's basically tile placement at that point.
Yeah.
You're going to be picking the art based on both the frame, like what frame it is, because you want to match frames for bonus points. But you also want to be picking based on the style of art, because the style of art is what's going to be manipulated in the price market.
Right, yeah.
So you want to be picking art that's going to have a high value at the end because there's lots of it in the museum, right? So you want to pick that style of art. But then also you've got to be careful because you should never commit a faux pas, because what are you? A fucking savage.
That was it. Yeah.
Never commit a faux pas. You can never have 2 of the same style of art touching each other. Has to be like a nice variety. So with those interesting tile placement restrictions, this game brings just a really wonderful vibe. It's just fun, light, interactive.
Yeah.
But not like aggressively so. You're just interacting through like the stress of picking the right bidding number. Like you've got, everyone knows that this is the most valuable piece of art. Everyone's got a space for it. There's only one of them that we can bid for. The rest is like shit art worth fuck all. So everyone, we all know, how much do we want to bid for it? Like, is it that important to everybody? And the bidding is really amazing because you've got 20 different bidding tiles, like numbered 1 to 20, and they're one and done. So once you bid with your number 20, that's it. You haven't got a number 20 anymore. And then like if you've got something else that comes up, chances are you can't guarantee it. And having that breadth of different numbers is amazing. You'll end up with this sort of weird median of bidding numbers. You might have like really lows and really highs, or you might only have something in the middle. It's really, really good, mate. I mean, yeah, the production, incredible.
Yeah.
I think they enlisted 5 different artists, I think, to create the different artworks in the game, and they're all based on, you know, in twists on art that you know, like the woman with the pearl earring, or Van Gogh's Starry Nights or whatever. So
wasn't there a certain section on the board you get higher value if it's
that's
if
right
it's
in the
there?
eye line?
That's the eye line.
That's
that's
right.
it.
So of course the art that's in the eye line is your preferred art, and by the end of the game you want to try and make sure that the art in the eye line is the most valuable art in the market, because then you'll get extra points for that. So it's really, really, really smart. I mean, it's such a clever little game. I mean, they did a great job. It sold out immediately, pretty much, like within hours. And it was one of those ones that had a slow build buzz, where at the beginning it was like people were playing it, but it wasn't like people were running to buy it like apiary and then fucking running home. It was a slow build, and then an avalanche. By the start of day 2, sold out. Bam.
So did you know about this before you went to Spiel?
Nope.
Ah, so there you go. Right place, right time.
No, I'll tell a lie. I did know about it, but it wasn't like super high up my excitement list. It was like I know about this. That sounds fun, but it wasn't like, I don't think it was even. In
I'd like to check it out, but I'm not committing to buying this.
I sat down, played it, stood back up, and bought it.
Yeah,
it was
and you're glad you got it, mate.
I've played it a ton.
Yeah,
everyone I've played it with has loved it. Like, there's no one that's got sun down and gone, yeah, that's all right. Like, it's always a fun game,
and I love the bidding aspect. It's so thematic. How you it's literally like if you're at an auction or something, you've got your little 20 here, 30 there,
exactly.
Sort of thing.
18 I bid.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly. And then I always get surprised where I'm like, no one's going to bid this high. I'll put a 15, and some motherfucker puts an 18, and you're like, what? How are you bidding that much for this art? Anyway, it's great.
It's phenomenal, Matt. I love me a bidding game regardless. So when you like telling me now straight away, I was like, that's a bidding game when we played. I was like, yep. So I was sold just when you said bidding. So
yes, not too heavy, easy to explain to people. Plays in under an hour or so. Up to 4 players. Excellent games. My number 1 of the year has to be. I've had the most fun with it. Art Society.
What a pick.
Thank you.
Very good
I
pick.
definitely like to play it. I get the feeling that I'll end up with something like an artisan coffee shop with loads of shit local artist art on the wall.
Different sizes
and then like the key thing in my art gallery would be like the portrait from Bean the movie, where he's like scrubbed off the face of the famous picture and then drawn it on with a pen.
Yeah, incredible. It's something like that. Well, you had that nun that like basically mortified the painting of Jesus. It turned out it looked like a monkey at the end of it. Incredible. So,
but you'll love it, mate. Honestly,
I
can see you put it in your collection because it is really good.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
I definitely like the sound of it. It's been one I've been looking at quite a bit because obviously it's getting a lot of buzz.
Come out now, I think it is really recently. I mean,
oh wow,
like really. I got it at Spiel. It wasn't due.
So it was ahead of its release.
Yeah, like it always is there. So like I think it was a December release. So it might have been literally in the last week.
If it's not out here now, it'll be January time. I'd imagine
it's a fucking
January's a slow month, mate. Good time to play it, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's some excellent picks, guys. Obviously, 1 Clash only, but any honourable mentions? What didn't make your list?
I think there's a fair few.
Let's have it. Come on.
You want us to go with the horrible mentions? The honourable mentions? Horrible mentions? Yeah, I've got a couple of honourable mentions for you. Mine would be... you don't really like this game, but I think it's a really fun little trick taker. Aurum, I think it's a good one. And the more I play that, the more I like it. And actually...
That was the Pandasaurus.
Yeah, the Pandasaurus Trick Taker. We played it, I think. Yeah.
Was that with the gold cube?
Yeah, the gold,
yes,
right.
I know. Yeah.
And actually, and also, my issue with that is the rules that have come in it. I've got it's full of fucking misprints and missing rules, which I only have discovered, and I've discovered since I played with you.
Yeah.
Went on to BGG and I went, oh, there's an entire 3 rules that we haven't played with because it's not in the it's not in the 3-player section of the rule guide, but it should be. So I'm like, son of a bitch.
Oh wow.
So same with you. Like, there's rules that you can play with.
So did we not play it properly then when we played it?
We played it. we played a more difficult version of it because if you read like the 4-player section instead of the 3-bit, you can actually use the gold cards to change your bid halfway through the game. So you know how you bid how many tricks you're going to win?
That's right, yes.
You can use one of the gold cards to change your bid halfway through, which we did, which I've never done.
I mean, that makes the game easier.
It makes the game easier, but also more interesting and interactive. So there is that. So that was probably up there. Fox Experiment, I've got to probably mention.
I thought that was going to be a number one. That's why I was like, is it Fox Experiment?
No, it wasn't. It's a good game. But the more I play it, the more I realise there's a ceiling to it, and the ceiling's quite low. And what I mean by that is, I don't think there's a way of getting very good at it. I think there's a level upon which everyone can kind of get competent, and I don't think there's much room for it to grow. I don't know. It's hard for me to explain, but I describe that as it has a low ceiling for me personally. Your mileage may vary.
Sure.
Sky Team, big honourable mention, would go in if it wasn't for the controversy pick. And I think that's pretty much it. After Us, I only played very recently, so that's got to be an honourable mention. I only played that with you, and because you brought that down, I thought it was great, but I think I'd need to play it more before I consider it here. And Among Cultists, which I think actually, in retrospect, a pretty good social deduction game, a pretty bloody good one actually. It's hard to know who it's for, because it's kind of too complex for what is like typically a social deduction game. Right. And it's also it's got a weird rule set to get the hang of. It's not a difficult rule set, it's just unusual. So once you get that, it's actually very good. But it's an honourable mention.
Okay.
You mentioned Cultist, mate, so I'll be up for it, regardless. Sorry, Jason, go on.
I have a few. After Us, I was going to mention as well. Yep. I've played it a few times now. Yep. Really do enjoy it. Not quite good enough to be in my top 5.
We were saying for it to be, we couldn't understand the hotness of it. I mean, it's an okay game. It's not like,
It's much the same as how I felt about Fox Experiment. Yeah. I enjoyed my play of it. I don't really think it's up there. It's got a ceiling to it. I think After Us is somewhat similar. I think there is a ceiling to it. Yeah. There's a lot of cards in it, so I guess there is replayability there because you're not always going to see the same cards, but every game's going to be the same. There's no variation in the gameplay. So After Us, very, very good. Do enjoy it, but not good enough to be in the top 5. I wanted to talk about Beast, which was another...
Fuck yes, of course!
which is another one that was dropping in and out of the list, and it was actually swapping.
I don't think I played it enough to put it in the top 5, so that's probably why I didn't put it in there.
That was the ultimate reason why I took Masters of the Universe over Beast. Again, 1v all, hidden movement. I'm not usually a fan of hidden movement, so that tells me there was something special about it because I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you what it was that I really enjoyed about it over other hidden movement games, but I clearly did.
That's one wonderful thing about board games. Sometimes it's the intangible that you like about it. It's how I feel about Big Boss. It's like it's something I don't know. I couldn't really explain, but there's something about it that I just really like.
Something clicks with it. Yeah.
You just like, really like that. I can. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Living Forest Kodama expansion.
Nice.
I wanted to mention
that was this year, wasn't it? Yeah.
Again, didn't really add enough to the game to warrant going into that top 5 of the year. Steam Up.
Yes,
was another game that I really enjoyed. I didn't ever get around to actually buying the game, but I do enjoy it, and it's one of those, if I see it at a good price, I would probably buy it, because again, I think it's a really great lightweight game, entry level, as opposed to something like Wingspan.
Yep.
And the final one I want to mention is probably one that neither of you have heard of, which was Robot Quest Arena.
You're right. Haven't heard of that.
No.
I have played this only the once, which is again why it couldn't be in that top 5 list. But imagine Robot Wars, the board game.
Cool. Love it.
That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
It is literally, you've got a robot miniature, and they are amazing miniatures.
I think you've mentioned this on your podcast. That's probably why I've heard of it.
And it's a battle arena. So you are literally controlling your robot, using a deck building aspect to move your robot.
Wasn't Zatu meant to be publishing something like that?
I think they were involved in it.
Because I played that last year's UKGE. I don't know if it was called that at the time, but Zatu did a Kickstarter or something, and the arse fell out of it, and the whole thing fell apart. And we played a prototype of it. It might be that. That sounds super familiar. Deck building, like Robot Wars type thing. Right, yeah. I think it's that.
Maybe it's the same one, and where it's fallen through its arse or whatever, they've taken it on themselves, because there's another Kickstarter coming soon, I believe, for a expansion for it with more robots and stuff like that. But yeah, the production on it's really, really good. It is a bit basic, but again, deck building for the sake of deck building is non-existent here. You are deck building in order to use it to fight. So there's a reason to actually buy the cards and do all of that.
It was called Steel Colosseum is the Zatu one. I'm going to see if there is an update or something because it sounds like maybe they lost the rights to it or something. Possibly. I'm sure there's some story behind there as to why that failed. I don't know. But
I didn't know
was very good
anything of it until I think it was Paul had backed it on Kickstarter and it had turned up.
Right.
And I happened to turn up at one of his game days. He goes, "Oh, this turned up today. Do you fancy playing it?" That was the first I'd ever heard of it. And I really enjoyed it. It was good fun. I loved Robot Wars as a kid.
Yeah.
So I was just sort of like, robots fighting in an arena? This sounds like Robot Wars. And literally, while I was playing it, I was like, I've still got some of my old Robot Wars like toy sets where the miniatures are about the same size. I was like,
okay,
I could replace that with Sakillalot. I could replace that with like Hypnodisc. I was like, yeah, I love the idea of this game. I want to play it more. I don't think it's a game I ever really want to own.
Right.
But it was good fun.
I'm very surprised Roman a Day didn't come into that because that was another big one for you at Expo, wasn't it?
It was on my list, but then I was like, do you know what? I don't think it's... I really enjoy it, but I don't think it's in my top 5 of games I've played this year.
Okay.
It was just good fun.
Fair play. My honourable mention. Sorry, Wayne, you going to say?
No.
Oh, sorry.
No, I've got interest. I'm interested.
No, so my number 6 was very, very close to being my number 5 because I played. The only issue is I played it once. I've not played it again since. I don't own it. I've been contemplating whether to own it or not. So I didn't think it was fair enough to go in my number 5. But number 6 was E-Key.
What a great game, mate! Fucking phenomenal game.
Again, this was so tough because I wanted it on there, but I just haven't played it enough to talk about it even more.
That's fair.
But fucking fantastic game. I hope to pick it up at some point. But again, this was another one in the Game of the Year.
It was a Kenner Spiel nominee,
wasn't it? So
that's right. It was always going to be too complicated for that award because it's slightly heavier.
Yeah.
But I am in love with that game so much. It might make an appearance in my all-timers. I think it's fucking amazing. It might. I mean, not to TBC. I need to play it a few more times, but it is such a good game. It does some really interesting stuff as well, right?
Absolutely. That whole fire mechanic is a bastard as well.
It's so cool.
It's so good. And it's gorgeous to look at as well. It's a nice table presence on that as well. So, unfortunately didn't make it because I only played one, so it's not fair to do it. Season 2 technically came out of this year, which was Final Girl, the first time I've ever played a solo play game. So Ben introduced that to me, so that was on there. The Cascadia expansion. Thank you, Board Shift, for picking it up at Spiel for me.
Great game still, Cascadia.
Art Society was actually on there.
Nice.
Distilled's on there as well. Hijacked is on here.
Oh, nice. So
Hijacked was one of those, again, big hit. I've only played a couple of times, but was that the theme of that was just incredible, and how there was I believe a certain mechanic on it where you had to have all the same points in there to move the SWAT team back, which is hard to do.
So really interesting worker placement mechanic.
Very. So again, worker placement right up my alley, and it had a bag of Wonderment in it, didn't it?
It did. The bag of
Wonderment. Again, this is going to be controversial because this is another revamp of a game, and it's your favourite bidding game of all time.
Where it's going.
And it's going to be
going to bring it up.
So it wasn't going to go on the list because it's not technically a 2023 release.
And on that, ever since you introduced that to me, that's blasted its way into.
You made a whole video of it as well, so I was completely shocked.
It's blasted into one of my favourites ever. It's so good.
I don't think I've ever really talked to you about it, but I actually share the sentiment with you in the sense of I think Ra, even before the revamp, is probably the best game of that type.
The best pure bidding game, right? For sure.
Yeah.
Like full stop.
And this is coming from a Furnace fan, which is a great bidding game.
Furnace is incredible,
And then, but I do think Ra tops it. Honestly, it is a phenomenal game. Yeah. And again, how is it? Again, I never knew this was a revamp or anything. I thought it was it until I think you said it was
98.
There's been a fair few revamps this year.
They've been doing it to like old Knizia and Kramer and Kessler games, and like things like there was Zuvadis, which was an old Knizia game from the 90s. Quest for El Dorado got a new reprint, which we played.
We did, yeah.
And then there was another one, which was, it's another Egypt-themed game by Knizia. It's a bloody good one. I was going to pick it up. No, I couldn't. I can't remember it now. Anyway, that was another one. Yeah, but you're right, and it's been kind of a year. For
yeah, absolutely. I was going to mention that earlier on when you brought up Big Boss, but I didn't know if it was going to be anyone's top 5, so I left it to the honourable mention part of it. And obviously, very last, Jason's just brought it up, which is Pyramido, which is Dominoes with Egypt. It is fucking awesome. It's like one of the best family games out there. And a lot of fun with just mates as well, isn't it?
That is a nice thing, actually. With all these revamps, you are seeing a resurgence in people playing Knizia games, especially.
Going back and recognising that they're fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And just because of their sort of time of release, doesn't change how great the mechanisms are.
No.
Amon-Ray is the game I'm thinking of,
That's
by the
it,
way.
yeah.
So, yeah, and he's a genius. He's a genius. Like, some of his games are just phenomenal. Like, Quest for El Dorado, another one. Great game.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, a bit older now. I think it's 2 years since or 3 years since the most recent reprint. But yeah, phenomenal stuff, mate. Yeah, but that is some incredible honourable mentions there, Rand. I mean, there's some great games.
All did. What a year for gaming, guys.
Yeah, really
I mean,
good.
come on. Yeah. You can't deny it. And then let's roll on for 2024, seriously.
I can't wait to get your guys' top 10 of all time when we do that episode. That's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to that one.
If I'm being completely honest, I genuinely think that this year might be the first year where there's
a change.
At least 2 or 3 new games on that list.
Oh, yeah. I think.
I mean, we know.
I've
confirmed that at least one of them is on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's going to be 2 or 3 new ones this year.
Man, it's going to be an interesting.
And talking about episodes, you're both on podcasts, so please let's have a little plug with those guys.
Oh, I've got to go first on this, haven't I?
Let's have that radio voice, please.
Sure, no, you go ahead, man. You do it.
My name is Jason. I am, of course, one of the hosts of the Meeple Minded podcast. We put out a new podcast most Tuesdays. We've slacked a bit this year, unfortunately, due to various personal issues, but whatever. We still do what we can. At the time of recording this, I think this will come out the same week as our very last episode of the year, which will be a year roundup, where we'll go through. You'll probably hear some of the similar stuff because we are going to talk about our personal top 3s for the year. So you've heard mine. You get the chance to hear my other hosts and their top 3s. We'll also talk about games that we've played this year and the ones that we had the most fun with, what we think is going to come for next year. So there's a lot of stuff coming. But yeah, we do all sorts of stuff. I've gone on for too long. Wayne, it's your turn.
No, not at all. Do check out the Meeple Mind. It's a fabulous podcast. I very much enjoy listening to it. Yeah, my name's Wayne. I'm from Bored Stupid. We have a podcast and a YouTube channel, which we do a hell of a lot of these days. So please do go check that out. You can find us at Bored Stupid UK on YouTube. We release videos every Monday and Thursday on a whole number of different topics. And hopefully you'll see there's a good crank up in the production as well. We've been doing great. We've got Matt on board, who's been a wonderful friend and just a great person to know, him and Faye. And we've been doing the channel together very much, quite a lot. We've also got the podcast, and please do check that out, which it remains the same as ever. In Bored Stupid North, as we've called it, as we've broadened, the network. So we've got Bored Stupid North and Bored Stupid South. So at Bored Stupid North, they're going to be taking on the podcast much more regularly, and you'll get much more of a regular release for your audio pleasure in the near future. We do at the moment have a monthly release schedule, but that should be increasing very soon. Our most recent episode is on Big Boss, with a future one coming very soon. So please do check that out. Check out the YouTube channel and enjoy.
Nice, guys. Please give those channels both a listen. They are fantastic when it comes to board games, and they know a shitload more than I do. I'm practically the noob around the table on this one, but we still represent a couple of board game episodes for we have to do the B at some point on M.T.V.B, don't we? Mate. And I can't thank you guys enough for doing that. Thank you for coming out during Christmas as well. Again, what a year it's been to play games with you guys. I look forward to 2024 with you both. Thank you again.
Love playing games with you, and absolutely. And whenever you want it in the B, just ask me.
In the B.
Oh, yeah.
But thank you for the video game stuff you did as well on the last season. And Jason was on that as well for that one as well.
Season, yeah.
It was. Yeah. Please come back for season 8, and we'll leave it there, guys. Let's do it. If you like what you listen to, follow us on Facebook at the M.T.V.B Podcast, on Instagram at M.T.V.B Podcast, or on TikTok, M.T.V. Podcast 197. I be Anthony, followed by...
I have been Jason.
My name is Wayne.
And we're listening to Jason's favourite music. Good night, guys.
My headphones are